the mindset of scarcity. Like, other opportunities are not going to present themselves every single day. If you think like that, of course, but if not, you have to know opportunities are going to always flow to you. As long as you flowing and in a flow state, opportunities are always going to come. Doors are always going to open. Your name is always going to be brought up, and so forth and so forth. God is going to always bring about opportunities to you. So you don't have to be forced to feel like you have to say yes to every single last thing that's presented to you. All opportunities are not meant for you to say yes to. Sometimes you need to say no. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful Vibes 365 podcast, where we have productive and stimulating conversations about how to be mindful in all areas of your life. My name is Malaysia. I was doing some thinking, and have y'all ever experienced a moment where you should have said no to an opportunity? Like, you caught yourself reflecting and was like, oh, you know what? I actually should have said no to that. I should have told this person no. I shouldn't have gotten myself involved in that. I should have went with my first mind. I should have done things the way that I was planning on doing them at first. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? All that stuff. We have all been there. In my early 20s, I found myself saying yes to a lot of different things, committing to things, committing to people and situationships and all that really did not serve me, all because I didn't want to step on people's toes, hurt people's feelings, right? You don't want to necessarily put your foot down because it might hurt you a little bit more than it hurts the person, or it doesn't feel good, or it's not the most comfortable thing to do, right? Maybe you have a problem saying no to different things because you don't want to feel left out. You don't want people to think you're acting funny or you're acting brand new, or you don't want to disappoint anybody. You helping people out when you tired. You showing up at functions when you don't have the money, taking trips when you don't have the money, taking on tasks and projects that don't align with you or where you clearly see yourself trying to go in the future. It's just all bad. And at the end of the day, one thing that I really learned that just hit me was you do not have to say yes to every opportunity that's presented to you. And that's something that you really truly have to learn. I feel like it's obviously way better if you learn it in your early 20s, because once you hit your 30s, you won't have to deal with problems like these. But this is something that I have really truly been learning and living by in my 20s. Like I said, I'm 25, and in my early 20s, I have had plenty of moments where I should have said no to something, and I ended up saying yes because of various reasons, like the ones that I just mentioned. And I realized, like, every yes you say to something that's misaligned is a no to yourself. Usually it always ends up coming back to bite you in the butt some way. So I actually want to tell y'all a little story about an experience that I personally had. I was sitting reflecting on this a couple months ago, and I was just like, dang, that was one of the times where I should have definitely said no to this particular opportunity, because if I did, I'm pretty sure things would have worked out a little bit differently. I'm pretty sure, I know they would have worked out differently than what they did. And overall, like, go with your gut, because in this particular situation, I was already thinking one way, and then I did not go with my first mind, and that's why I ended up being a full disaster. So, backstory, you guys. I live in Atlanta, y'all, and I was actually a luxury apartment locator. If you don't know what apartment locator is, it's simply just basically it's like a personal assistant to a person that's trying to move and find an apartment. You don't have the time, you don't have the patience, so you're going to hit me up, and I'm going to give you a list of recommendations based on what you're looking for: price, preference, location, all that stuff. I'm gonna book the tour with you, and then you're gonna make a decision, and then boom. So I started doing this for my first company, I would say in 2022, I believe. That was cool. Then toured pretty much all the nice buildings in Atlanta, all the five stuff, just all the things, right? I met some great people. I done met any type of client you can think of. And at the end of the day, it was just a sales thing. And that's all I've ever done. So easy, light work for me. I left that company. And when I left that company, I was faced with the decision of, okay, am I going to start my own company? I can really start my own company, right? Or am I going to look for another company? But no, I can start my own company because I had already built up a clientele where I could get plenty of referrals. I was creating content. My videos were going viral. That's at the time where apartment locating wasn't that popular. You know, it was popular, but it wasn't popular. Like, you didn't just see everybody and their mama doing it. It wasn't a whole bunch of super duper nice videos on social media. Like, yeah, I was, you know, one of the pioneers. But anyway, I was just like, you know, I'm just going to start my own locating company, because why not? I can do that. You know, it's me we're talking about. And at the end of the day, my face card is just very good in the street. So I'm going to be able to build this up and run this company how I want to run it, right? So I had made it up in my mind that that's what I was going to do. And, you know, I did have someone that I knew who also worked at my previous company, and they ended up hitting me up with an opportunity and was like, hey, you know, I want to talk to you about something. I want to, you know, invite you to come work at my locating company because I made a company and blah, 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 blah. And immediately, you know, the voice in my head is like, no, say no, because you already have made it up in your head that you was going to start your own locating company. Like, okay. But, you know, I'm listening. It's like, oh yeah, we already got building contracts and people on board and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I really want you to be a part because I know your work ethic. I know you're going to make it pop. I know you're going to make it smooth. Me and my business partner, X, Y, and Z. I did not know this business partner, but I knew this particular person very well who was presenting the opportunity with me. So I'm like, okay, you know, I guess I don't have to go through the troubles of establishing my own business and getting my own LLC and doing the extra work to get building contracts and, you know, this, that, and the third. I can just be a part of this other company. Mind you, I had already just left a company, and I'm just like, you know, you made it up in your head that you was going to do this yourself. You was going to establish your own company so that you could run things the way you want to run them. Your profit will be your profit. It ain't no percentage. It ain't no commission. It's just boom. Okay. Fortunately, I did not follow my first mind, and I decided to go against my better judgment, and I joined this company. Right now, no one could have known how this was going to turn out. However, I knew at the very beginning, like, it's something that's telling me that I should say no, but I don't want to say no because I don't want this person to think that we're in competition, that I want to go against him, that I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to do it on my own. I don't want to be a part of his stuff. I want to do my own show. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I agreed to it, because I just didn't want to feel like I was stepping on toes. How dumb. But anyway, that's what happened. And things just started to gradually go downhill, right? I was still getting new clients, still closing deals, still having tours, still getting referrals, and blah, 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 blah. But when it started coming time to, you know, get paid out and get my money, it just started to be a lot of drama going on. I'm not even going to go into too many details because that's messy and I don't know who's going to see this. I don't care. No one can beat me up. But the way it goes, all y'all need to know is it ended up being a disaster. I'm talking about complete disaster in a way that you can't even imagine. But like overall, a disastrous situation. Lawyers end up getting involved. Courts end up getting involved. Luckily, I was just able to cut ties and walk away from it because I just don't even care about any of this stuff anymore. But, you know, it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do this no more. I don't want to do locating because number one, I don't care enough. Number two, I'm tired of running behind people and X, Y, and Z. Like, I really do not care enough. Find y'all an apartment and be dealing with the stuff that I'm dealing with. And, you know, I'm just way smarter than this in other ways where I can be making way more money than this and doing less work. So I ended up not doing that anymore. But I started to feel bad and just started to reflect a lot on like, you know what, Malaysia, if you would have just done this how you was planning on doing this in the first place, you wouldn't be feeling like this. You wouldn't be going through this. You wouldn't be, you know, waiting months for paychecks. You just wouldn't be going through the stuff that you're going through now. But you went against your better judgment. And that particular situation, I feel like is one of the biggest situations that I've experienced in my 20s that really taught me to, number one, not go against my better judgment. And number two, Don't be afraid to put your foot down and tell people no. Simple. Just because somebody presents you with an opportunity, it doesn't mean that you have to say yes. I could have simply just said, you know what? I'm grateful that you thought of me. I'm very happy. I'm very honored. But this is actually something that I want to do on my own terms. I want to do it independently. And, it's no hard feelings. I wish you luck on your company. And, yeah, I'm just going to rock out by myself. And it would have been nothing wrong with that. And if they decided to take it personal, who cares? But because I didn't do that, it just made the whole entire experience, honestly, it just made me disgusted. And that's exactly why I didn't want to do locating anymore. So I say that to say, you've probably had experiences like that too, whether it was, about a business opportunity or even a relationship with people. Just because somebody asks you to be with them doesn't mean that you have to say yes. It really doesn't matter what the situation is, but we say yes to these opportunities because, like I said, we fear missing out. We fear not being liked. We fear looking selfish. We fear confrontation. We fear being a hater, and we fear tension. Like, I don't want to make it awkward. I don't want to make it weird. I just don't want there to be any hostility, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because this is your life and you're entitled to say no to things. And anybody that doesn't like that can move around. Simply put. And also what I did learn and realize is when you say yes to opportunities that you really should say no to, is really because you don't trust yourself enough. You don't trust yourself to stand on your own judgment and go with your own mind because you're asking yourself things like, well, what if I say no and regret it? Or what if this is my only chance to do X, Y, and Z or get X, Y, and Z? We get caught in the mindset of scarcity. Like, other opportunities are not going to present themselves every single day. If you think like that, of course, but if not, you have to know opportunities are going to always flow to you. As long as you flowing and in a flow state, opportunities are always going to come. Doors are always going to open. Your name is always going to be brought up and so forth and so forth. God is going to always bring about opportunities to you. So you don't have to be forced to feel like you have to say yes to every single last thing that's presented to you. All opportunities are not meant for you to say yes to. Sometimes you need to say no. The N and the O are the two most powerful letters of the alphabet. My dad has always taught me that. And that's something that has been very beneficial for me to learn in my 20s because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be no yes man, no yes woman, whatever. I don't want to be that person that's always saying yes and then regretting it after the fact. So I want to ask you guys, what would happen if you actually honored your first mind more often? What if you trusted your gut and stopped forcing things that just don't feel right? How would things change for you? Malaysia, I don't know how to tell whether or not an opportunity is for me or not. Right? And an opportunity doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something as little as saying yes or no to going on somebody's birthday trip. It can be something like showing up to a dinner when you know that you are financially not in a place to do it, but you're contemplating on going anyway, right? Those are considered opportunities as well. They're just on a different scale when it comes to something that's super duper important. Some stuff is going to look good. It's going to feel good. It's going to look urgent. It's going to seem like it's super important. It's going to seem like, oh my gosh, I have to say yes to this because I don't know if I'll ever get this opportunity or get an opportunity as good as this one again, or, whatever the case may be. But that does not mean that you are aligned and that everything that is presented to you is going to be aligned with you as well. So I'm going to give you guys some tips on things that I've learned to help me discern what's for me and what's not for me. Okay, so pay attention. Tip number 1, you need to pay attention to your body and your energy when something is presented to you. If somebody is presenting an opportunity to you and you're instantly hesitant, you're instantly filled with anxiety, you're instantly like, oh my gosh, they just had to bring it up. They just had to ask me to do that, right? Are you feeling a sense of dread and exhaustion? You haven't even did it yet and you're already tired. That's a bad sign. If you're feeling like that, more than likely, you probably need to say no, okay? Because it's something that's going to be for you. Even though you might be a little nervous and jittery, that's different from having anxiety. That's different from just flat out knowing that you are having feelings of not wanting to do whatever it is, okay? And overall, you're just going to have a different attitude about stuff that truly is for you to say yes to, okay? Number two, you need to check your why before you say yes to something. Like, are you saying yes because you don't want to step on anybody's toes or be perceived the wrong way? Or are you saying yes because you genuinely want to do it? Or are you a people pleaser? Which one is it? You need to decide, why do I have a tough time saying no? Where's the disconnect coming from? What's truly making me feel like I have to say yes to every single thing that somebody asks of me? Okay. If your yes is rooted in obligation, you're absolutely going to be filled with regret later. You're going to be mad. You're going to be angry. You're going to be like, damn, I should have said no to that. Okay. Number three, ask yourself, is this opportunity aligned with my future self, or am I just feeding my ego? Okay. Sometimes you're going to be presented with opportunities that aren't going to do anything other than stroke your ego, flatter you, make you feel like you're important or what you're doing is important. And it don't mean none of that. Okay. You're simply just stroking your ego and it's making you feel good, but that ain't even what it is for real. You need to really ask yourself and be honest. Am I trying to prove something? Is this really going to help me move forward? Is this going to help me grow, or simply just bring more drama and chaos into my life? Do I see this bringing peace into my life? Do I see this job being peaceful? Do I see this business partner opportunity as peaceful? Do I see this person who is pursuing me, who is talking about wanting to get into a relationship? Do I see this as something that can potentially go somewhere and it can bring me peace in my life? Okay. Do I think that agreeing to go on this trip, this group trip, this group girls trip, knowing I have X, Y, and Z obligation coming up, do I think that this is the smartest thing for me to do? And be honest. None of this is going to work, or none of these tips and tricks or questions that you're supposed to ask yourself are going to help you get better if you're not going to be honest about the answers. What's going on, y'all? Thanks so much for tuning into the show. This episode is sponsored by Mindful Vibes 365. If you or anyone you know are experiencing maybe feelings of depression, anxiety, disconnection from God, you're overstimulated, you're just overall unhappy, you're depressed, you're sad every day, you can't seem to find your joy or your rhythm of happiness, period. Okay. This means that you more than likely need to go ahead and reprogram your mind and your vibe. And this is exactly why I actually created a 90-day guided workbook that's going to help you reprogram your mind and vibe in the next 90 days through the power of fasting from secular music. Now, as somebody that went a whole entire year without listening to secular music, I can honestly say it completely changed my life across all areas: finances, mental health, my spirituality, right? Everything that you can possibly think of. My life literally did a complete 180 as soon as I started focusing on intentionally feeding my brain with stimulating, productive, and spiritually enriching information. This workbook is actually going to be filled with resources such as recommended gospel songs, sermons, personal development teachings, Bible readings, great books that you should read as well. You're also going to have tips that you can apply weekly and thought-provoking quotes that were handpicked to make you think. You're also going to have space to record the information that you listen to on a daily, all while also having this space to reflect on what you learned for the day, what your vibe is for the day, and what's on your mind for the day. So make sure you go ahead and grab a copy of your 90-day workbook. I can 100% guarantee this is going to change your life in ways that you can't even imagine. As soon as you start filtering out all of that chatter and gossip and drama and things that are just not helping you to move forward, I'm super excited about helping at least 1,000 people change and reset their minds and their vibes by 2026. So again, go ahead and grab yours today, and congratulations in advance on your new mind and vibe. Let's get back to the episode. Now, I know you're probably like, Malaysia, I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I need to learn how to actually say no, okay? I have a hard time saying no. This is so hard for me. I don't know how. It just makes me feel bad. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to say it. Teach me. Tell me, okay? I'm going to give you the game. First, I need you to understand that saying no is a form of self-respect, okay? You don't say it often enough, which is why you don't understand this, and which is why you don't feel this way, okay? But once you start saying no, you're going to realize it's not that hard to do. All it takes is just a little practice. So tip number 1, you're going to practice saying no in low stakes situations, okay? You're going to say no to things like last minute hangouts, knowing that you just got off of work and you're completely exhausted. It's okay to say no. You don't have to show up this time, right? Extra tasks at work. Hey, do you think you can handle this? If you really truly have a choice, how about you start saying no sometimes? Instead of feeling like you have to be the superstar all the time and superhero, Superman, Superwoman, taking on all this extra work. You don't have to do that. Extra favors. Can you do me a favor and pick me up or take me to X, Y, and Z? I know it's probably out the way. And, if you got something to do, blah, 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 you can say no. Now, I'm not saying become an asshole and just start telling people no and never do things or never commit to things anymore. I'm just saying you don't have to say yes every single time. Sometimes you can say no. And the more you practice, the stronger your no muscle is going to get. Okay? Tip number 2, and this is important. You don't have to over-explain. Okay? You don't have to give a whole supporting argument as to why you're saying no. Oh, well, I can't come to your birthday dinner that's going to be at a super expensive steakhouse because I'm facing eviction. If I only have this amount of money in my bank account and my savings, and I don't get paid until the end of the month, so I'm not going to be able to come, and all my credit cards are maxed out. It does not take all that to say no. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay? Some things that you can say instead. I'm not available for that right now. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm going to have to pass on that. That doesn't align with what I'm focused on at the moment. Or this doesn't align with what I'm focused on at the moment. I'm sorry. But thank you for thinking of me, though. Haha, nice offer, but no. And obviously, you can say this in much nicer ways, but you're not worried about being nice. It's not always about being nice. Say what you have to say and mean what you say and move on. Don't care who told you you're going to step on or who's going to be mad, who's not going to get it. That doesn't matter, right? And also, number 3, just remember, every time you say no to what's not for you, what's not going to be beneficial to you, what's going to stress you out, put you in a different position that you don't need to be in, you're going to make room for things that are going to be for you, for things that are going to be good opportunities for you, right? For spaces to be good for you. All that good stuff. So you just have to remember that you can't receive new blessings and come into new opportunities if you're still holding on to things that you absolutely, without a doubt, know for a fact is not going to work out for you. That you know for a fact, I don't need to agree to this. I don't need to say yes to this. Okay? No, you need to nip that in the bud and cut that out. All right, so your homework for this week, y'all know I have homework for y'all all the time. I want you to pause and think before saying yes to anything that's presented to you this week. Analyze the pros and the cons, analyze your posture, analyze your feelings, analyze your attitude, sleep on it, meditate on it, work out, right? Whatever is your ritual to think things over. Don't think that you have to be in a rush to give somebody a response. Don't think that you have to give somebody an answer right there on the spot. If somebody asks you something about an engagement or an event that's coming up or blah, 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 right? You can let them know, hey, I don't have an answer for that right now. You literally can say this. Hey, I don't have an answer for this right now, but give me until X, Y, and Z, and I will let you know. Okay? Hey, let me think on that, and I'm going to give you an answer by the end of the day or by tomorrow morning. You see how simple that is? All you got to do is let it roll off your tongue, and boom, it'll get easier and easier. So all in all, y'all, I want to let you know that saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do. And every opportunity that's presented to you is not going to be a good opportunity. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with somebody who can benefit from listening to this conversation as well. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.